These are the side hustles that made me $700 for the month of November. I'll be breaking down each side hustle from A to Z, telling you how you can get started yourself, and giving it a rate from A to F, just so that you get an idea of whether if I actually think this is worth your time or not. And one last thing, I will be giving each side hustle an hourly rate, so you get a better idea of what you can expect for every hour of effort put. I'll be going through each side hustle, starting with the side hustle that made me the least amount of money to the side hustle that made me the most amount of money. The first side hustle is staking crypto. Sounds extremely complicated, but it's very simple when you look at it. And the cryptocurrency that I like in particular is Ethereum, the world's second biggest cryptocurrency, used by many companies to develop products in the finance space, the legal space, and other industries as well. Staking is a process whereby you contribute to the blockchain by validating data onto the blockchain and creating new blocks. You don't have to be technical to do this. I don't know many technicalities about the staking space, but I do want to partake in the process to validate transactions on the blockchain. And the best part is you get rewarded for it. Depending on the exchange that you use, Coinbase, for example, might give you a different reward percentage compared to Kraken or other crypto exchanges. My exchange gives me a 2.2% reward for staking my crypto and validating transactions onto the blockchain. My yearly rewards are $65 for the year, which comes out to roughly $5 per month. I'm not looking at crypto as a way to make passive income really. This is just a reward for holding Ethereum. For me, this is a C side hustle. Extremely passive, which is the positive, but you will have to put in a lot of money to get real returns from it. I put in $3,000 and I only get $5 a month. Although if you do believe in the long-term potential of cryptocurrencies, the majority of return is actually going to be in the price of that particular cryptocurrency. The second side hustle is usertesting.com. Usertesting.com is a survey website. You sign up and you give them some basic information about yourself. For example, your job, the industries that you worked in, what your interests are, what consoles you have access to, and depending on the data that you fill out, you'll get access to a bunch of surveys. These surveys are given to usertesting.com by companies that make products. Let's say that you're really into fashion and you select fashion as one of your industries. Companies operating in the fashion industry want your expertise since you are the target market. Perhaps they're making a website that they need some opinions on, or maybe they're launching a new product that they need you to look at. And not just fashion, you have all industries on here, from technology to baby diapers. Yes, I've seen baby diaper surveys on this website. Each one of these surveys can range from $4 all the way to $60. The $4 and $10 surveys are extremely simple, and all you need access to is a webcam and a microphone. Most times you do not have to show yourself doing these surveys, just record your voice, which is the first point that I want to talk about with usertesting.com. If you are not comfortable speaking in a mic, I really recommend getting comfortable. It's as simple as that. If you can learn to speak in a microphone, you can take these surveys and make $4 to $10 pretty easily. For the $30 to $60 surveys, you actually have to meet someone and schedule a time and give a sort of a mini interview feedback session about a product that they'll have you walk through. An example is a recent session I did where the company was making an AI product that people could use on their work apps to communicate with their coworkers. They walked me through the product, they asked me what I think about it and what I would improve, what I liked about it, and within 45 minutes the interview was wrapped up and I earned a nice $60. But not all is free, of course. One thing to note here is that you're not going to qualify for a lot of these surveys. Sometimes you'll start filling out surveys, you'll get to a point where they ask you a pre-screening question and you will be disqualified since you are not the target market for that particular survey. Although in my experience, you do qualify for 1 out of every 5 surveys. And when you do fail, you fail extremely quickly, so you can move on to the next one without worrying too much. As long as you have a camera and a microphone and a decent laptop, doesn't even have to be really fancy, you can do this side hustle. For me, this is a side hustle. Number one, the hourly rate is extremely high. The $10 surveys take around 10 to 15 minutes to complete, so if you really try hard, you can do 3 per hour. And the $60 survey, of course, takes 1 hour to complete, and you can make $60 for 1 hour of effort. And the second part is you can do this at your own time. Nobody's going to pressure you to do 10 of these every day. If you have some spare time, you can do it in the morning, you can do it in the evening, you can do it in your lunch break. It doesn't really matter. You can do this extremely on your own schedule. For me, I did one of these, a $60 survey that I mentioned, giving me a total of 84 Canadian dollars or 60 US dollars for the month. The next side hustle is dividend investing. Dividends are simple to understand. Companies like Pepsi, Coke, Google, Microsoft, any big company that you can think about sells products or services and makes profit. Now with this profit, they can do 2 things. They can either reinvest all of this back into the business or give a percentage of this back to shareholders. This is where I come in and other dividend investors. We want to partake in the stock market and get some of this money back from companies. Some companies give a very high dividend like Pepsi and P&G, and some companies give a low low dividend like tech companies like Microsoft and Apple and Google. The key part though is that you get some dividend from most companies. For me, the best part about dividend investing and what I actually enjoy about it is that you don't need to take on a lot of risk. Because some of you might be saying, what if I invest in Microsoft and it goes under and it goes bankrupt for some reason? All my money is gone potentially. Well, you don't have to invest in Microsoft or Pepsi or one singular company. You can invest in what are called ETFs or exchange trade funds. Think of these as stocks that hold a basket of companies. Instead of holding one or two or three, a lot of these ETFs hold 500 or even more companies. Some of the biggest ETFs in the United States, for example, track the S&P 500. These are 500 of the biggest companies in the United States of America. They include all of the bigger companies that you know about and also up and coming smaller companies. This ensures that your money is relatively safe as opposed to investing in only a singular company. This is my preferred style of investing, not financial advice, of course. You have to say that on YouTube. But I think for me personally, this is a less risky way of partaking in the stock market and also partaking in those dividends. And this month I got paid from a lot of ETFs. ETFs tracking the S&P 500 that we already talked about, an ETF tracking the TSX 60 or the Canadian version of the S&P 500, an ETF that tracks both pretty much, HEQL, and also covered call ETFs. Covered calls are controversial in investment circles online. I will leave a link in the description below if you're interested in learning more about covered call ETFs and how they work. But essentially they sacrifice some long-term potential of the stock to give you the returns now. I like covered call ETFs at least for a percentage of my portfolio since they keep me motivated. They keep me interested in saving and investing. Some other companies that pay me dividends were P&G, Procter & Gamble. P&G is a CPG or consumer packaged goods company that makes literally everything, all the way from snacks and drinks to household products like cleaners. P&G is an extremely steady company and the dividend is an added bonus to holding onto the stock. I also got paid from two other companies. The first being Apple. Apple doesn't need any introduction. I have the iPhone. I also have a MacBook. I love their products and I think their products are going to be extremely useful in the future, especially if they can figure out this artificial intelligence play. And American Express, a credit card company. Credit cards are increasingly important in financial systems, especially in the travel market. And that is what Amex targets. Their biggest niche is travel, and with travel returning to normal levels, I can only see their stock doing even better in the future, and I also get paid just for holding onto the stock. For me, this is once again an A side hustle, the most passive side hustle that I've ever come across. A decent yield at around 2 to 4% depending on the structure of your portfolio, and extremely easy to set up. If you're in the US, you can look at Robinhood or other brokers. If you're in Canada, you can look at Wealthsimple, Questrade. There's just so many options and so easy to connect your bank account and buy stocks that I just don't understand why this would not be an A side hustle. Through dividends alone, I earned $285 for this month, and I'm excited to grow this amount heading into next year. The last side hustle was Fiverr.com. Fiverr.com is a freelancing website. You can sign up and provide services to people looking for pretty much everything. If you're good at designing logos, you can sign up and provide logo services. If you're a good programmer, you can sign up and provide programming services. If you're a good writer, you can sign up and provide writing services. Literally anything that you can sell can be sold on Fiverr.com, and clients from all over the world, not just America and Canada, are looking for freelancers. It's extremely easy to sign up and get started. All you need to do is give them your email and pick some gigs. Gigs are essentially the services that you'll be selling. And this is where my first piece of advice comes in. I recommend that you choose something that you're actually good at. There's hundreds and I would say even thousands of people on Fiverr.com providing services. If you want to stand out, you need to do something that you're actually good at, because the quality of your work is going to be extremely crucial for your long-term success. For me, I chose career services as what I want to sell. This is because I have helped dozens and even hundreds of people now throughout the last 7 years get prepared for interviews, polish up their resume to apply for jobs and get a high response rate, and just be more prepared for the job search process. And I can do this because I have tangible results with real actual clients and real people. If you, for example, want to sell a logo making service and you do not know how to work Photoshop or Canva or other tools, I just don't recommend that you do that, since you're not going to be able to deliver high quality work. That's step one. Step two is pricing below the market. This is hard to hear for a lot of people since they want to be paid a fair market rate, and I can understand that. But Fiverr.com is extremely competitive. I've said this again and again. And when you start, you'll have to set your market rate at a 20, 30, or even 40% discount to get those initial clients and that initial feedback. That's exactly what I did and what I'll do for the future. Both of my gigs are below market price until I feel like I'm a prominent enough force in the market to charge the market rate. This was a good month for me when it comes to Fiverr.com. I made $235 American or 330 Canadian Canadian dollars. At an hourly rate of around $26 now, because you can see in my stats here that my average order value is $26. And for me personally, every order takes an hour to complete. I'm gonna rate Fiverr.com a B side hustle. Even though for me, it might be an A, I think for the general person that's just starting out or looking to get into freelancing, this is going to take some patience. I've been at it for around 4 months now, and when I started, I could only charge $5 to $10 for my work and the hourly rate was extremely low. But since I've stuck with it, I can now charge a higher rate since I have social proof on my profile. If you're just starting out, you will probably have to do the same, and the hourly rate for you is not going to be as high as it is for me. My recommendation is getting started, but being patient, because patience is going to pay off in the long run. So that's what worked for me. What about the failures? The biggest thing I failed at was other user interview sites. I applied to 5 or 6 surveys here and I qualified for 0 of them. Similarly, I also failed at Respondent.io. This is once again like usertesting.com. You sign up, you apply to a bunch of surveys. I applied to 3 or 4 surveys here and I could not get qualified for any of them. That is the thing with side hustling though. It is not as simple as these YouTubers who claim ungodly amounts of money made through side hustling. You cannot make $100 an hour or $3,000 a day doing side hustles, especially at the starting stages. If it was so easy, everybody would be doing it. The richest people in the world want to make $3,000 a day. So why would they not be doing whatever these YouTube videos claim they are? If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and the subscribe button. Every subscriber helps get this video to the right people, and I'll see you in the next one.